So for safety reasons, the first thing that we need to do is remove rings. And if you have earrings as well, remove them. Any long hair, please, in a ponytail, so it's safe, you don't get cut. In this video, I will be using the molds that we did with fiberglass. I will need you to check that video before. I will put the link on the description below. And we will be doing the fiberglass pieces out of this fiberglass mold. So this is more or less what you will need. Remember, always working, when you work with fiberglass, always use gloves. This is the fiberglass, literally fibers of glass, so that can get into your skin, especially when you sand it. It's very itchy. If that happens, wash your hands and arms with hot water, so your pores open and the fibers go out. It can get out of your skin. And this is one of the types of fiberglass. It's multi-directional or non-woven. The other one looks more like a fabric. All fibers are woven into a specific pattern. We need to separate this. In order to do that, well, you need obviously scissors, will be easier. And when you do this, you can tear this apart in two. You can separate this in two very easily, like that. So it's slightly thinner and more flexible. This is helpful when you're doing small pieces like this. When you're doing really big things, you don't really need to separate this. In this case, that's what I do it, because it's small and I need to make very, very tight corners. We will also need, obviously, our wax to the mold, the piece, to extract the piece from the mold without being stuck. We will need to measure our resin, a couple of disposable glasses, paper cups, one for actually mixing the resin with a catalyzer, and the other one to clean your brush with a little bit of thinner, and obviously a stick to measure everything. And that's it. That's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to wax my molds. So remember, well, last video, if you saw the other video about the fiberglass molds, we put these screws. So obviously you just need to take them out for this exercise. And what we will be doing is that we will be putting this fiberglass like this, and we will be leaving this edge going out, straight up. Once it sets, we will mark exactly on the partition line, and then we will sand it off. We'll have two pieces, and then we will glue them together. It's very, very easy. So in the moment right now, what I'm going to do first is wax my molds, and in the meantime the wax dries, I'm going to prepare my fiberglass, and we will be ready to do our pieces. So my molds are waxed. These are ready. 3 layers. Remember, put one, let it dry, remove excess, and then again, at least 3 times. I have here the resin. The formula depends on the brand, but it's normally depending on how many ounces you use. Here is ounces. It's a number of drops that you need to put. This is the catalyzer, and they normally sell it with a drop already, drop dispenser. So depending on the weather, if it's humid and cold, around 20, sometimes they say to 30 drops per ounce. I never go up above 20, because I have the experience that if you put too much, the chemical reaction will happen too fast, and it will heat up a lot, and it will crack the resin. So I will keep it between 15 to 20. Right now here it's not humid, but it's quite cold. So between 15 and 20, I have 4 ounces. So the math is pretty straightforward, around 60 to 40 drops. Now this smells really bad, so wearing a mask is absolutely essential. Be sure that the room you're working in is well ventilated, and if there is any other people around working in the shop, for example, it's a good idea for them to wear a mask as well, because the fumes go all over, and this, after a while, this can create headaches and night dizziness, and even for some people vomit. So please be very, very careful. So what I will do is that I will put my resin in my cup. So this measuring cup that I have here is glass, and I want to keep it as clean and as untouched as possible. So I only use it for measuring. And then I use the glass, the paper cup to mix my resin. So that's it. Now I'm going to count, let's say 70, between 60 and 80, 70 drops. And I'm going to mix. I have here my fiberglass ready and the resist application. So I'm going to count and then mix. So the first indication that this is working is that the resin changes color. The one that I have here is blue, very intense blue, and when you mix it with a catalyzer, gets dull, the color becomes a little bit brownish. So that's it, we are ready to work. Now it's a good idea to just apply a layer of resin first. I explained as well in the other video, the mold making video, that there is a resin called gel coat. There is a thicker resin that is normally applied in fiberglass to have a layer of, material that can be worked, so can be sanded afterwards. Because the last thing that you want is when you have your molds or your finished piece and you need to sand them a little bit just to improve the quality of the layer, to have resin popping up. That's not a good thing. So the idea with this is just get some resin and just push. Don't paint, don't try to paint. That will just tear the fibers out of your mold. It will get stuck in your brush and it's going to be a mess, a huge mess. So it's only pushing, okay? So you grab a little bit and then you push. The fiberglass is white, and when you start applying the resin, it will change color to the color of the resin. So if you see that the resin is still, so the fiberglass is still white, that means that you probably need to add a little bit more resin. Some tight corners, at the beginning it will seem that it's not working, that it's not shaping the fiberglass to the shape of your mold. Just keep pushing. The fiberglass will just get molded to the shape of your mold. So just keep pushing. Don't add too much resin, so otherwise you will be wasting the resin. It's not necessary. Remember to leave a little bit of the fiberglass higher, so we can then cut the piece. So once catalyzed, the resin will last probably 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less, depending how much catalyzer you put. And so you have to work fast. The good thing about this is that even if this resin sets, you don't have to wait. You can continue adding layers of material, and that will be enough. So I have one layer here. Let's do the other mold. This piece is relatively small, so we don't really need too many layers. The corners are stronger, so if you need to reinforce the large, more kind of straight areas. So that's one, and then obviously the bottom. Check for bubbles. Bubbles also look slightly wider than the resin, and again, just by pushing you should be able to remove all the bubbles. I don't know if you can see it here, slightly wider. that could be a bubble, so just push and check that all the edge is full of resin, has all the resin necessary, because afterwards what we'll be doing is marking on the exterior and cutting. So you need that edge to be rigid. Now we need to wait until it sets. There is still a little bit here, so I can check when it's set. It will take probably around 30 minutes to fully set. And then will take longer to be really finishing great. Don't forget to clean your brush, otherwise you will be wasting brush like a maniac. So just in another cup of paper, just add a little bit of thinner and clean it, and that will be it. We will be back when it's ready for extracting from the mold. So I have my two pieces sanded, and I put a couple of tapes here, a piece of tape just to align them. And now it's time to glue. It's important to align this as best as possible. You will see that it's not flat as in our original model, and that's a normal thing. Fiberglass tends to contract and warp a little bit. We can always fix that with Bondo. So that what we will do now is glue these or fill these holes with Bondo, and that will be pretty much it. The rest is just fixing surfaces and fixing holes and things with Bondo mostly. You never present an object, a model like this to your client. So there is still more work to do that is not part of this video. We'll need to paint it and do other works. That will be later on in another video, and I'll show you how to fix all these surfaces. Right now I'm just going to glue it, and that's pretty much it. So Bondo, we've been using Bondo for other projects, so I'm assuming that you should know more or less now what it's like. If not, please check some of the other videos, especially there is one that talks about little tricks about Bondo and how to use it. This is the catalyzer. Grab a little bit and just covering that hole. We will need to sand obviously afterwards. The important thing for the moment is just gluing these two pieces together. We leave it to dry and then we sand. So this is it. This is the final result. It's been sanded. And remember that the idea with this is to find the surface that you need. So what I was saying before, that the fiberglass, the resin, warps and deforms a little bit in the mold, especially at this edge when it was open. So even if it was just a little gap that I needed to fill, I was actually, with the Bondo, I was actually in need for a little bit more Bondo just to get that surface back, the specific surface that I wanted. So you saw in just a second ago that I was sanding in these directions like that. So that is very important, because what you are doing is finding back the surface that you need. And by doing it that way, you guarantee that the surface is smooth, because if you just sand like this or just one direction, you will get bumps in the other direction. So you need to cross this sanding so you get a really nice and smooth surface. And again, you're not just pushing a sandpaper, no? You are a designer, you are looking for a volume, you're looking for a surface. So you have to stop now and then and just feel what you're doing and understand that maybe what you need is not sanding anymore, but just filling up the gaps with more Bondo. Fiberglass and resin, it's the resin actually, has a kind of a sweet smell. So if you're sanding and suddenly you're starting to feel this sweet smell, it's better to stop, because after the resin, the fiberglass will come. And if you get fiberglass coming out of here, it's going to be a mess. So you don't want that. It's better just to fill up the little gaps with Bondo, that I still have a few that I still need to work out, in order to get ready this for painting. But as I said before, that's going to be another video. For this specific exercise, this is what we wanted, this is what I wanted, this is what we need to do. And we finish.